How's it going, everybody? RazingHel here, and today we're going to be looking at a small portable keyboard that I basically got off of eBay for around $10. Now you'll have to excuse the setup here because I don't do live video much. We basically just have a towel on top of my desk because I couldn't find anything else. Okay, so it's called the Mini Wireless Keyboard. There's not a whole lot of branding here because this is most likely just some generic brand keyboard that's mass made in China. Then that manufacturers buy and then they stamp their own brand on it. So, when I look at it, there is really no branding on it at all. But what this keyboard is basically a keyboard and touchpad combination device. So this, in my use case, was bought with the intent of using it whenever I have a desktop that basically needs a keyboard and mouse. Now I can just plug this in and go. I don't have to lug a keyboard around when setting up and trying that stuff out. So here we have the standard USB cord for charging it. And then we have the controller itself. You already saw the top of it. It actually does come with a rechargeable lithium battery. So it's a lithium ion, which is rather impressive because if I recall correctly, these are more expensive than the NiCads. Here we have the little receiver dongle. It's nice that these things are compact these days. There was a story sort of associated with that. When I got my first wireless keyboard, it was from HP back, I think it was 2009 probably. It came with this huge USB dongle that basically extended about 2 inches, and I just hit it with everything because it was plugged into my laptop. And anytime I messed around that port, it was getting bumped and stuff. So eventually it failed because I just hit it too much. It also had this really annoying bright blue light that would shine every time you typed something. So can you imagine having it plugged into the side of your laptop? You're using your laptop, and every time you hit a key, there's this bright blue light that shines right off to the side. And I ended up putting some gift wrapping tape over the blue light and then took a magic marker and drew over that. And so it's really nice to see that we've come to a point where they've stopped doing that and they can actually just stick it in a convenient little USB dongle like this now. I'll admit, though, the recharging cable is a little bit short, but I guess that's to be expected with a lot of these smaller things. I mean, what do you want for $10? I think it's pretty impressive that this can be shipped to me for $10. It works, it's got a rechargeable battery in it. It's got USB, wireless connectivity. You can't ask for too much. So I have used it, and it performs as much as you'd probably expect. So the touchpad is really cool because it allows you to have that same degree, well, maybe a little bit less, but largely the same degree of control over your mouse cursor that you would get with a laptop's touchpad. Obviously, this is a little bit smaller than a lot of touchpads and laptops these days, but for being portable, it's really nice like that. And then there are like 3 different ways to actually use the right and left click on it. So for one, you can just tap, which is pretty common. Like on a lot of laptops, you can tap. But then let's say you want to drag a window. Now that's usually complicated when you have to like tap and then hold and drag. So instead, they have these alternative mouse buttons right here and then right here on the side. So if, for example, I wanted to drag a window from one of my monitors to another, I could hold down on this mouse button after, positioning the cursor over the window title bar, hold down on this left click mouse button and just drag it wherever I want. And I don't have to worry about accidentally like lifting up a little bit off of the touchpad. So they really give you a lot of options in terms of how you can control the mouse, which I thought was really great. And of course, when you're browsing web pages, on this other side, they have page up and page down right there on the side. So it's a lot of browsers and like word processors and stuff have support for page up and page down. So that's really convenient. You can easily scroll up and down. You don't have to do scrolling on the touchpad, but that option is also there. Like if you want to scroll, you can use, it's pretty standard, 2 fingers up and down on the touchpad. Obviously, it's a little bit cramped, but especially if you're using this for like a media center PC, that's, I think, one of the best use cases for this sort of keyboard mouse touchpad combination. Just being able to hold it like this little compact controller-like device is really quite ergonomic and easy to store. Like I can actually stick this in one of my pockets and just tote it around with me. It's easy enough to do. We have the multimedia controls on one side and sort of a D-pad configuration. like pause, play, skip, and then volume up, volume down. And then on this side, we have, of course, the standard D-pad. I actually managed to use this a little bit for editing in Premiere, which I thought was kind of cool. There are a whole bunch of buttons on here that are like context dependent. Here's a search button. I haven't used many of those, but it did work when I used it. You could also use multiple keys at one time. So in other words, you could hold on Alt and F4 to close a window. You were definitely not limited to like one key press at a time. So that's a good thing, I think. If you held down Shift and it wasn't capable of like multi-key rollover or whatever that's called, that really wouldn't be very helpful then, would it? So when it comes to using this, obviously you're not going to be touch typing on it. This is much like a tablet keyboard, I suppose, at this size. So you're going to be typing with your thumbs, basically. And that's going to reduce the efficiency of being able to use it, but still. And this one obviously has a microphone as well, so I'm not sure if you can use voice control on it. I haven't managed to try that out at this point. So far, at this point, I've only used it with Windows. It has worked well with Windows, but I really can't attest to it working with anything else. Another thing is, in the instructions, they really don't tell you a whole lot. Like I said, there's no branding whatsoever that I've seen on here. So it is a very generic branded thing. It just says, you know, version 08RF/2.2, and you can tell the manual itself is written in very poor English, I believe. The nomenclature is for that. But like I said, what do you want for $10? As long as it works, I can probably figure it out myself. According to the listing for it on eBay, it was supposed to support like Windows, Mac, Linux, and Android. So this does not support iOS. If you're interested in actually hooking this up to like an iOS device, it won't be able to do that. And I don't think we'll be able to hook up to anything that doesn't support standard USB, because this keyboard itself is paired to this. I think it was pre-paired with this dongle in the factory. So you can't bust them up. Like I have actually tried interfacing this with an iOS device, and the iOS device simply does not pick it up, even though this is Bluetooth. And when it comes to turning it on, there's a little switch up here at the top. It just slides. And as you can see, now it's looking for the dongle. If we plug that into my hub over here, we should eventually see something happen. Let's see here. Oh yeah, there you go. I can actually move the cursor on Notepad here on my right monitor. And then yeah, basically that gives you an idea of what it would be like typing. I'm not exactly sure which mouse buttons I like using. The ones on the side are obviously convenient because I'm a right-handed mouser. If you're somebody who's left-handed, this might be a little bit more awkward because you'd probably be using the left hand to control the mouse, and then all you have is page up and page down on the side. So I believe this design is for somebody who's right-handed, but that might not be too much of a problem. It doesn't come with any software or anything like that. So you're going to basically just be stuck with the generic or whatever functionality generic drivers on your machine are going to provide for this. I guess that is, those are my thoughts on it. Like I said, it's kind of hard to go wrong for $10 shipped. And that's how much this keyboard cost. So far, I think it's going to suit its intended use that I had for it just fine. In terms of, I should actually turn this off first. In terms of what's going on here with the setup, like I don't do this much at all. Like maybe once every 4 or 6 months, I do something. I open up a product, whatnot. So I have no real setup for recording this kind of stuff. So it's very impromptu kind of setup, and that's why I just have a towel here basically on my computer desk that's going to provide a white background, because everything that I own is actually pretty drab. I like darker colors, darker palettes, and when it comes to filming, that just doesn't show up very well. Then there's no point in reviewing a product on top of a dark wood grain computer desk or on top of a black mouse pad. I can't get my USB thing back in there. There we go. So thanks for watching, as always, and hope to see you next time.